Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Friday, it's 5pm, although in this world it's currently 9:17. Because usually we record this slightly closer to the end of the day, but I have to go up to Burton to do a talk on British IPA, and Bradley is jet-lagged to hell, aren't you, Bradders?
Yeah, I'm jet-lagged to oblivion. I went to bed at about 6am this morning. I couldn't sleep at all, having just got back from a sort of nighttime flight back from San Francisco. I don't even know what day it was now, Johnny. I was awake. I feel like it's all the same day, but it was on Wednesday. I was awake and I went to Alcatraz in the morning because my girlfriend's never been to Alcatraz before. So I went back to Alcatraz and then we went all around on the streetcars. Got a cheeky In-N-Out, one last In-N-Out burger, and then...
What do you mean one last? How many did you have?
Oh, okay, so I had two... Oh, we only went twice, Johnny, only twice.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't like burgers for some bizarre reason.
Whoa, wait, what?
I know, right? It's almost a deal breaker. Yeah.
That's weird.
But she
both on a who doesn't like burgers, but also you ending up with somebody who can't indulge your, I'd say, greatest passion.
Oh, maybe pizza also is, but she loves pizza, so that's fine.
Okay.
But I do love burgers, but I'm sort of waning slightly in my burger odyssey. But I mean,
I've seen no evidence of this.
Well, you got to go to In-N-Out every time you possibly can. So, 2 In-N-Out burgers. I did try to, because I rented a car while I was there as well, after lots of furor or whatever you would call it. Basically, I haven't got a credit card, and you can't rent any cars without a fucking credit card, which I didn't realise. So, I ended up renting an absorbent zip car twice, 2 days in a row. For over $100 every time, so we could do a bit of exploring further afield, and the fucker every morning I went to it absolutely stunk of weed, like incredibly strong weed in the car, which I complained about, and they didn't clean it both times, which really really annoyed me. But we drove all down the Pacific Coast Highway down to Santa Cruz, which was amazing, beautiful rugged coastline. We explored the giant redwoods in Muir Woods in a biblical rainstorm, which was incredible. There were sort of shards of light coming through the groves of the giant trees as the rain was like just kicking off, and honestly it felt like some sort of religious experience in nature. It was amazing. Also, went all around the sort of little towns around the giant forests, exploring all of that. Went to Oakland, did a little mini pub crawl around there in some sort of local breweries and a cider place.
Any highlights among them?
No, Johnny, I didn't think they were that good. I'm not going to name and shame them, but they were in downtown Oakland. I didn't like the brewery that I went to. I didn't think the beer was very good. The cidery was kind of cool. But I had an Almanac beer, which was a local Oakland beer, in there, and I think it just tasted just straight up bad. Like it wasn't kept very well. But it did have an amazing sort of grandma style square pizza off of a metalhead called I can't remember what his name was, but it was called Hesher Pizzas, and it was a amazing sort of heavy metal pizza place, which was real cool. And I ended up that night in Heinold's First and Last Stand, which is one of my favourite bars, which is made out of a sort of what do you call it, whaling ship that had been taken apart, and then they built this sort of like little weird shanty shack thing, which serves fresh Racer 5, which was tasting amazing. So I ended up in there, and then I nearly missed my my ferry back to San Francisco. Me and my girlfriend had to run around. It was like sort of Challenge Annika, trying to remember where the fucking port thing was in the dark. She's got asthma, and I felt like I had asthma because we went the wrong way.
Because of the Racer 5.
Yeah. I was just a bit blurry, and I'd eaten like half this giant pizza, and I felt like I was going to have an asthma attack. We literally ran down the like jetty as they were sort of putting the ropes in and stuff, and they very kindly held the boat for us. And the lady even gave us like a little, like people paint rocks and then they leave them places. Like they'll paint a pebble. I mean, this is the thing. People like painting pebbles and then leaving them places for other people to find them. So the woman on the boat gave us a painted pebble to then leave somewhere else, which we left on Alcatraz, which apparently I think might be illegal because you're not allowed to take or leave anything. But we did leave it on Alcatraz.
There you go. Well, now you're going to be locked up in Alcatraz for doing so. I'm assuming that's the punishment for breaking laws in Alcatraz.
Well, it's federal. It's not actually part of California. So they said you can't smoke weed or drink or anything on Alcatraz. You're only allowed to drink water on Alcatraz. You're not allowed to sort of take any food on Alcatraz or anything. It's very strict.
What?
Very, very strict. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
What?
It's federal land, so it doesn't go under the same laws as the rest of California. It's quite.
I mean, sure, that makes sense, but why only water?
Something to do with the sort of fragile ecosystem there. Like, it's quite amazing. Even just going over on the boat, we saw harbour porpoises. So like little mini, they're like dolphins, but they're like little mini whales, just like kicking about. Seals were like just popping their heads up right around it. It is a little biodiversity haven. Oh, I saw a red-legged booby in Santa Cruz, Johnny, and a juvenile red-legged booby on the jetty in Santa Cruz.
These are sentences I never thought we'd hear on Friday 5 p.m.
There were loads of bird watchers, and I was looking at this bird, and I thought, that is a fucking weird-looking seagull, mate. I said to Kirsty, look at that bloody ugly sort of seagull thing over there. It's like big. And really
you
fluffy.
got evils from the bird watchers.
Well, no, I was looking at it thinking, I knew it wasn't a seagull, but I was sort of taking the piss out of it because very ugly bird. It sort of had a head of a, what would you call it? Like a kind of, what are the things that eat carrion and stuff that are ugly?
Buzzards? Vultures?
No, vultures. It had like a vulture-y looking head. Very unfortunate looking bird. And it kept sort of popping its head up and then tucking it under its wing. Anyway.
Because it was so ugly, it was ashamed.
Yeah. Its beak was incredibly long and its face was like basically bald and it had fluffy hair. Anyway, the lady who was stood there sort of said, "What do you know what it is?" And I was like, is it? I was like, well, its face looks like, it's whatever. And then she turned out she was a school teacher, so she started telling me what why it was a da-da-da-da, whatever. And I get mid-flow of her sort of going into one. She was really wanting to talk about it. I went, is it a booby? Because somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew booby. A booby was like a sort of stupid-looking bird. And I sort of spoilt her thunder.
There's no ornithologists listening to this.
Yes. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, so that was fun. I spent an evening drinking far too many Miller High Lifes with whiskey chasers.
That's not even the good one.
No.
Coors Banquet, mate. Coors Banquet is the good premium macro.
No. Shit. Hang on. Coors, was it? What did I just say?
You said Miller High Life.
Hang on.
Which,
Hang on.
Oh God, was that in the blind taste test? I can't even remember. But Coors Banquet was the one that came out top.
Is Coors Banquet the champagne of beers?
No, that's Miller High Life.
Oh, I was drinking Miller High Life. To be honest, mate, I got absolutely annihilated. We couldn't drink first few days. My girlfriend wasn't very well. Oh, responsibly, yeah. I can't drink whiskey, and the whiskey chasers were insane. It was this dive bar called the Rumpus Rooms, with a mental karaoke night where they were all either like really amazing singers or total lunatics that couldn't sing. And there was a guy that was sat next to us, who got up and sang an incredible rendition of "Closer" by Nine Inch Nails, which is, I don't know if you know the song.
Oh, so says, well, yeah.
I wanna f you like an animal. I wanna feel you from the inside.
Why did you censor that F-bomb when you've been dropping F-bombs for the last 10 minutes?
It just feels real rude. It was like, it wasn't that busy in there. And it was like, whoa. As soon as the industrial drum machine started, I said to Kirsty, I was like, mate, this is Nine Inch Nails. Because they've been playing like Jolene, all kinds of like normal fare. And then this dude got up and sung an incredible rendition of Trent. And I had to like give him pretty much give him a hug when he came back. It was like, that was the most incredible karaoke I've ever heard. It was so sweary, and he was getting well into it. He was like writhing around on the floor. It was insane.
God. Was he there with anyone, or was this how he gets his kicks?
I don't know. He was there. There was another person next to him called Ginger, who had a terrible, terrible voice, and they were singing very odd, old-timey songs like "K Sarah Sarah." Do you know that song? Whatever will be, will be. But they were singing that like in a really wiped out sort of draining your soul kind of voice.
Lana Del Rey style.
Yeah. And I was like, this is odd. But they kept picking like real weird old songs like that, 1950s sort of songs. So that was a bit odd.
Again, most of your life feels like a fever dream.
Yeah. Talking of fever dreams, Johnny, I was gonna bring one back, but then I realised it was totally illegal, and I also realised it's not actually beer. But I went to a cannabis dispensary in the Mission, and I drank a what do you call it? Sorry, a Pabst Blue Ribbon High Seltzer.
So actual THC, the actual psychoactive compound.
Yeah. So it tasted like, I love a lemonade. I love a sort of shandy. It tasted like incredible shandy, but it had 10 milligrams of THC in it, which I was told to believe was a lot for someone who doesn't really smoke. So I drank half of it pretty much before I went to bed, because I didn't want to ruin a day. So I was like, well, I'm not going to drink it at the start of the day or like the middle of the day and like have a whitey or feel like super weird. And it made me have the craziest dreams about like communicating
a guy singing Nine Inch Nails.
Communicating with trees and stuff. Like,
oh my, okay.
I was like, and like a house was talking to me and all this kind of like mental stuff about interconnectivity and all sorts of stuff. This is before I went to Mer Woods as well.
I think there's an offshoot of Low Brau in which you drink these beers and then try to review stuff.
Well, yes.
And the bottle openers can start talking to you. You can start having conversations with bottle openers and bits of gadgets.
Yeah. Well, I did pick up a Low Brau Low Brau gadget while I was over there, which is incredible, which I won't reveal at this point. I went to a giant flea market as well, called Alameda, which is sort of near Oakland, but like right out in the middle of nowhere. And I saw the hugest collections of bottle openers out there, which I resisted because I've already got too many. But like vintage bottle openers, which was great. I drinking in Toronado, which we went to before. Fresh Allagash. Sorry, not that fresh, but Allagash white from the other coast. And very fresh Pliny was consumed there. and thoroughly enjoyed. Although I did get shouted at by the angry barman for using my little digital camera with a flash on it, taking selfies. Not even at the bar, Johnny. I was like away from the bar, but he shouted out at me, "Oh, I can't see anything. There's so much flash photography going on," something like crazy like that. He got well eggy because I took a couple of flash photos.
Was it the same guy that was there when we went in 20?
He was there as well. He was there. He was nice, but there was a younger dude. Like, that guy was nice. He's got grey hair and he looks kind of like a sort of wider, older statesman of the sort of craft beer scene. But there was this younger dude who was a bit eggy and told me off. Yeah. I also went to... Yeah,
oh my God, I was about to say you packed it in, but there's more.
I went to a couple of breweries. Oh, we don't sound very well there, Johnny. I went to possibly the most stylish taproom I've ever been to, at a brewery called Fort Point Beer Company in the Mission District. One of the owners was an architect, and they had the most incredible space. Beautiful sort of shadow, like all kinds of like crazy architect detailing, like shadow boxing and like amazing use of light to kind of accentuate angles and shapes and shadows and all kind of like neon pops, and it was great. The beer was actually all right. It was quite decent. I enjoyed it. But yeah, for starting off not drinking any beer, we did get quite beery towards the end. But
sounds like it.
Yeah, it was great, man. Oh,
I mean,
Yeah, go on.
Compared to my week, Bradley, I mean, you just spent 15 minutes saying what you did this week. I could sum up my week with had a bit of a cold.
Oh dear. I mean, I had a bit of a cold as well, but I just did.
Yeah, but that's where your week started. That's where mine started and finished. Fell out with some people online. I don't know, like.
No. Not again.
I need to do something with my life. I mean, going to Burton, I don't think quite really counts either. It's sort of had its heyday. No offense to Burton. Well, maybe I'll be wrong. We didn't really get to explore it when we did our documentary that much, and I might do a bit of exploration tonight. But
you're driving to Burton, aren't you? After we do this.
Yeah. Driving up to Burton, and I'm staying in a Premier Inn, so I might actually get some sleep. Class. And then back first thing to tomorrow morning. I'm staying because I'm researching book number 4, which is I can nearly announce. We're just sorting out the final bits of it, of the book deal, but yeah, it's also book research while I'm up there. So
amazing.
I'm packing it all into one day. But I wish I was in San Francisco instead. It sounds like you absolutely nailed it.
We did it. We went real hard with it. It was like many miles of walking every day. Lots of French toast and diner meals were consumed. We went back to St. Francis Fountain where me and you went before. Ate some nebulous potato thing, which is, I don't know if you remember, it was like a sort of big potato-y hash thing. Yeah, it was great, man. It's just brilliant. I love
And I had the strongest coffee I think I've ever drunk.
Yeah, that place is brilliant. As is Orphan Andy, which is in the Castro. And yeah, it's just full of the most lovely people. 24-hour diner. But yeah, love it.
Talking of this is such a tired link. Talking of lovely people, the reaction to your video has been wonderful. Nice. So many lovely comments about your presenting style, your enthusiasm, your knowledge about design. It was a joy to reply to lots of these. Lots of them I didn't even reply. I just put a heart because I was like, I can't add to this, really.
No, go on, Johnny. No, I won't say anything good about myself. Go on.
Well, I mean, we've got people saying, J May, this is superb content. The best thing about it being genuine interest and passion. Amazing stuff. I love watching Brad geek out. Absolutely love this video. Lovely to see a video with design in mind. Great video.
Lovely.
Just non-stop joy. Somebody asked, can you imagine if Brad had a spin-off channel? I think if we all have some THC beer, we could all imagine what that would look like. It went down super well, and it was off the side of it. So when I was talking about it on Twitter, I did a little tweet, and I'll put a link to it, just saying, what are your favourite bottle openers to people? And that absolutely kicked off as well. So I think that bottle openers are these weird, kind of amazing items because generally we have one that we've had for a very, very long time. And it's a bit like a wallet, you know, when you finally make the switch to a new one, it's a big deal.
Definitely. It's a little bit of your life, isn't it? That's quite personal, I think. There's usually a lot of memories tied into it. I saw someone had commented they had a little lizard bottle opener, which you've got one of those as well, right?
I did. Well, I recently switched up my bottle opener situation. Is that the right word? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I used to have. It was a Kona one that I got given when I was working for Cave Direct and helping import that beer, and that was on my keyring for 7 or 8 years, probably pushing 7 years, I reckon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, these things, they journey with us through our lives, and also if I don't know where you keep your keys, but I keep mine in my back pocket, so I sit on them. And you don't want anything too pointy on the seat.
Wait, that's crazy. You sit on every time you've sat down in my presence, you've been sat on your keys.
Yeah. I'm hardcore, mate.
Do you have no feeling there?
I'm like the monk in what's that crap Tom Hanks film about the Illuminati?
Oh, the Dan Brown one.
Yeah.
Is it Angels and Demons? The one with
that's the second one. The first one. What's the first one? Da Vinci Code.
Is it Da Vinci Code that's got the crazy monk? I think they've all got crazy monks in, basically. They're a little bit formulaic. I don't know if anyone's noticed.
Yeah, they are a little bit formulaic. That one, he's wearing a thing around his leg that like just crunches his leg. It's got a name in Catholicism. I can't remember what it is, but it's basically almost like a rose of thorns or something.
Right. So you're that.
Yeah.
But
I'm not. Well, I just think I don't know where else to put keys. I don't put them in the front pocket because I have my wallet in one and I have my phone in the other, and I don't want to scritch up my phone screen or my wallet with keys. So
I'm gonna have to put this to the Discord forum. Where do you keep your keys, people? Because you're the first person I've never heard of somebody that puts them in their back pocket. That's bonkers. Every time you sit down, it's a lottery. You're playing Russian roulette with your left butt cheek.
It's quite a nihilist. It is my left butt cheek. I don't know how did you know that? But it is quite a sort of nihilistic act, sitting down, not knowing if you're going to get jabbed by your keys every single time. Yeah, I love it, Johnny. I love it. But it does wear through my jeans pockets. They always go at the back. Don't know how we got onto this one. But,
so long as it's not beer, then we'll talk about it.
No, exactly.
I mean, I did have a specific comment picked out from your video.
Oh, yeah.
But I've lost it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, look, I mean, I'm always nervous about recording these things, and it was a joy to be able to talk about bottle opener design ad infinitum, and for you to edit together a 20-minute video, which quite a lot of people have sat through and watched and enjoyed. It is very niche. I do appreciate how niche it is.
It is niche, but often that's the best content. We're not in it for huge views. We do the stuff that gets it, but we don't do it that often because we'd rather sort of, what is it? You go deep and narrow, I think is the phrase for the content, rather than
nice,
shallow and wide. And like the response in the comment, the views is nothing to write home about, but the comments are just incredible. And lots of people. So the comment, actually, I've just found it. Is from Boo6 John, who says, I didn't know what to expect from this episode, but the passion explanations made it super interesting. Now I want a special bottle opener. And that, if you could encompass what I'd want people to think going away from that video, it's not sure if it's going to be good, be blown away by it, now you're super into bottle openers.
Yeah.
That's the dream of a YouTube video comment.
Exactly. That's kind of what we aim for with everything we do, to kind of look at these sort of super specific things and then geek out about them. So it's nice to see that it has, although it hasn't got the views of most of our videos, it's getting very positive feedback, which spurs me on for us to do more of them. So yeah, great stuff.
Yeah, and the same thing kind of happened with this week's video, which is all about the history of IPA, which is that I think a lot of people probably clicked on it being like, oh, I'll give this a go. And then, the stories that Martin's telling are absolutely fascinating. And I think that lots of people who have, I guess, heard cliches about it, or probably some misdirections, some mistruths, now know as far as we can do right now with the knowledge that's out there, the best history of IPA. But actually, the comment I wanted to pick out from this week's video was from Jack Horzempa.
Oh, yeah.
Who says, I won't read out the whole comment, it's very long, but he says, since this video is intended to be about the history of IPA, there's a missing element of IPAs brewed in the US in the 1800s, which is a great point. So obviously, we had lots of people going over from Ireland and the UK throughout the 1800s who would have been brewing British-style beers over there, and indeed lots of Germans went over at the same time. So that's why, one of the biggest beers in Texas is Scheinerbach. So a German beer style. So it's I'll can I link to articles to comments? No, but
no,
if you go look up Jack Horzempa, it's a really interesting comment about the history of American IPA brewing in the 1800s, which again is like the dream YouTube comment. It's like, yes, and
yeah. Well, there's another video right there. We got to go to America now and discover.
Yeah, although sadly, because of what happened in America with the proliferation of macro Pilsner, I think all of those breweries are now gone, sadly. There are obviously some historic brands that still exist, like Yuengling, which was, it's a Vienna lager, so I guess that's either I think it was an Austrian, maybe immigrant, and that still exists, and Scheinerbach as well, and a couple of other bocks around. But it seems that British-style brewing definitely disappeared by the end of sort of the 19th century, which is a real shame.
Yeah, the comments were fantastic in this video. I love the video. You can listen to Martin all day long. He's such a font of knowledge. Jaden Green said, history in a glass and a little over 20 minutes. If only schools taught history like this. We'd all
if only they did, it would be illegal.
We'd all be a lot drunker. And yeah, I did used to drink when I was at school. I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before. But yeah, over lunchtime when I was in sixth form, lower sixth form, I don't know how old you are, so you're like 16 or 17, I used to go down the pub and have a nice beer. But yeah, Crazy Beard beer reviews. I have to say your channel is one of my favourite ones to watch. Thank you for the content you put out, and cheers.
Oh, you're just picking out the compliments for this week, are you?
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
Johnny,
we'll take them.
I've had like 2 hours sleep. I can't pick anything too strenuous to read out. Dan Cohoon said, these guys always tell me I was drinking great beer. Sierra Nevada was my first independent beer that I loved. Me too, Dan. I think it was my first independent beer that I loved. Yeah.
Well, there we go. I hope if you haven't watched it, obviously the link is below. But yeah, there's so much more history in the comments, which is what's glorious. So we obviously had to take out loads and loads of content, and we had some people sort of flag up going, oh, but what about this? And we were like, yeah, that was originally in there, but 23 minutes on YouTube is 23 years in the real world. It's like the opposite of dog years. So we edited it right down, and happily lots of people have come in and sort of filled in the blanks in the comments. So it's well worth digging into those, whether you've watched the video or not. Yeah, so that's all we've got time for this week. We will be back next week, hopefully both with slightly less cold-influenced voices and maybe a little bit more sleep, but maybe not a lot more sleep. We've got another great kind of historical video coming your way, so get ready for that. Get prepared for 20 minutes of absolute geekery and very strong beer, and we'll see you on Wednesday. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/thecraftbeerchannel, and if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.